260, Lin Fei versus the Five Elders. Lin Fei's words caused an uproar amongst the martial saints present in the Grand Hall. Each one of them held status and prestige, standing high within the ranks of the ancient origin sect and wielding considerable power. Yet today, there was a martial saint who blatantly disregarded their existence. He even belittled them, deeming them as burdens. How could they tolerate such insolence? However, some martial saints found it curious that neither the sect leader nor the Wind Sovereign intervened. On the contrary, they seemed to be fanning the flames as if they supported Lin Fei. At that moment, the Wind Sovereign was secretly communicating with the sect leader. Sect leader, these martial saints have become too complacent in the ancient origin sect. We haven't clashed with Tai Dao Palace for several centuries. Look at these martial saints. Some have managed to form two flowers but couldn't cultivate the spirit flower. Many haven't even condensed their saber momentum. At this rate, when will our sect produce another martial sovereign? Lin Fei, who joined us merely half a year ago, lacks roots here. Yet his power is undeniable. Why not let him give these martial saints a proper lesson? Remind them that the ancient origin sect stands upon martial prowess. Without formidable martial strength, all words are in vain. The sect leader nodded repeatedly. Although he didn't always oversee the sect's affairs and just reserved his intervention for significant events, it didn't mean he was oblivious to the state of the ancient origin sect. Without external threats, many of the sect's martial saints had lost their ambition and drive. Thus, for centuries, the sect had failed to produce another martial sovereign. If this persisted, the lifespans of the ancient origin sect's martial sovereigns would soon reach their end. At that point, the sect might find itself without a single martial sovereign, signaling the sect's impending doom. In this scenario, Lin Fei appeared like a ferocious dragon, recklessly and audaciously asserting his might within the ancient origin sect, relying solely on his martial prowess. This was commendable. In a martial arts sect, if strength doesn't dictate status, would seniority? If a sect starts prioritizing seniority over strength, then its downfall is imminent. Which among the martial saints is willing to spar with Elder Lin? The sect leader spoke deliberately. Hearing the sect leader's solemn tone, it appeared as if he truly wished to see a duel between the martial saints and Lin Fei. For a moment, some of the martial saints began to sense the underlying meaning. Was the sect leader indirectly supporting Lin Fei? Yet, these martial saints, esteemed as they were, could not swallow their pride. I would like to experience Elder Lin's techniques for myself. Count me in as well. Elder Lin has cultivated two flowers and has also grasped the saber momentum. His not ordinary include me. I am currently attempting to evolve my saber momentum. This would be an excellent opportunity to learn from Elder Lin. And so, one by one, the martial saints stepped forward. Each of these martial saints was remarkably potent. Each had cultivated two flowers. Some had understood the momentum of martial arts, while others had not. Yet, once they descended from their mountaintop abodes, their powers were fearsome enough to sweep across all directions. Good. 5 elders in total. Elder Lin, what say you? Agreeable. Lin Fei nodded. Facing the top 5 most formidable martial saints, each having cultivated two flowers, did place some pressure upon him. Battling against those of the Foundation establishment true person stage was, after all, not the same as battling martial artists. Very well, without delay, let's proceed to the arena. The sect leader made a decisive call. Thus, Lin Fei and the 5 elders flew directly toward the arena. At this moment, in the center of the arena, several martial saint disciples seemed to be in the midst of a battle. However, with a mere wave of the sect leader's hand, an overpowering force descended, suppressing these martial saint disciples. Postpone your battle for now. Clear the arena. Elder Lin and the 5 elders will engage in a sparring match. The sect leader's voice echoed through the void. The disciples in the arena were immediately and forcefully relocated outside of it. Is that the sect leader? Not just the sect leader, but also the law enforcement hall's master, when sovereign. Did the sect leader just say that Elder Lin is going to spar with the 5 elders? Yes, Elder Lin has arrived, and so have the 5 elders. All 5 elders have cultivated 2 flowers. Are they joining forces to duel against Elder Lin? What exactly transpired here? For a moment, many disciples were taken aback. Each of these 5 elders held significant power and influence. Within the entire ancient origin sect, they belonged to the core echelon. Yet now, they were joining forces to battle Lin Fei. Merely a friendly spar. Who would believe that? It was simply unimaginable. Certainly, some significant event had taken place, though they remained in the dark about it. Consequently, many disciples immediately notified their friends. Within a short span, a multitude of disciples crowded onto the arena. The sect leader, without initiating the duel, seemingly intended for a vast assembly of disciples to witness the event. By this time, the 5 elders were well aware they couldn't afford a loss in this battle. A defeat would mean a complete loss of face, making it impossible to retain their present dignified positions. They were trapped in a situation with no easy exit. Thus, this duel wasn't just a simple spar, it pertained to their identities, statuses, and prestige. Victory was the only option, defeat was unacceptable. Before long, the arena below was densely packed with disciples. Among them, some elite true disciples had also rushed to the scene upon hearing the news. The sect leader, discerning that the crowd had gathered substantially, finally declared, "Enough attendees." 5 elders, Elder Lin, sparred gently and began. Upon the sect leader's command, the 5 elders moved without delay or courtesy. The moment the sect leader ordered, they took immediate action, holding nothing back. Above their heads, 2 blossoms materialized. Employing swift techniques, they launched direct assaults on Lin Fei. The might of 5 martial saints, each with 2 blossoms, was nothing to scoff at, especially in the confined space of the arena. The moment they acted, the elders could almost instantly close the distance to Lin Fei. Such a battle, in essence, placed Lin Fei at a significant disadvantage. The pressure was indeed immense as the 5 elders combined their forces. Their formidable aura was overwhelming. The combined energy flowers and chi flowers in the void number 10, merging to form an overpowering force that swept toward Lin Fei. Moreover, the elders attacked with the force of a thunderbolt, not giving Lin Fei even a moment to catch his breath. Facing such an assault, many disciples below the arena felt their hearts constrict. They believed that even a martial sage with 3 flowers, who hadn't stepped into the martial sovereign realm, would probably not withstand such a fearsome combined blow from the 5 elders. However, in the next instant, Lin Fei made his move. A crimson radiance emerged from within him. The blood energy domain. Immediately, as the blood energy domain enveloped the area, the 5 elders felt a sudden heaviness, as if the circulation of blood throughout their bodies became constricted. They were being suppressed. The energy flowers above their heads flickered and wavered violently, clearly under the intense oppression of the blood energy domain. For a moment, the speed of the 5 elders slowed down considerably. This was merely the beginning. The hum of an immense force filled the arena once more. It was Lin Fei's transcendent saber momentum. Among the 5 elders, one wielded a saber. But now, under the influence of Lin Fei's saber momentum, the elder's saber trembled violently. Drawing the weapon seemed almost an impossible task. With the dual oppression of the blood energy domain and the transcendent saber momentum, the elders found their strength reduced by more than half. If it had been merely the saber momentum, the pressure wouldn't have been so fearsome. But combined with the blood energy domain, the suppression was truly terrifying. However, the confines of the arena meant that even while under suppression, the elders still had some strength left. They continued their approach to Lin Fei. A hint of a smirk even appeared on their faces. It was as if, once they got close enough, victory would be theirs. In a swift movement, Lin Fei flicked his finger, unleashing the rainbow transformation saber technique. A streak of rainbow light, which instantly expanded to hundreds of meters in length, flashed across the arena. Above Lin Fei, a second flower appeared, the Chi flower. As the Chi flower materialized, the rainbow transformation saber, now stretching over hundreds of meters, slashed directly at the five elders. Another streak appeared, the flame-burning heaven saber. It was as if a blade comprised entirely of flames had emerged, causing the surrounding air temperature to surge dramatically. Yet another saber, the Holy Spirit saber, emerged. All three blades, reaching heights of several hundred meters, slashed forward with unmatched power. The entire arena shook violently. It seemed as if the platform itself was on the brink of shattering. When Sovereign and the sect leader exchanged a glance and, with a gesture, a unique force enveloped the entire arena, preserving its integrity. One of the elders, under the attack of the flame-burning heaven saber, was severely injured, coughing up blood. Following him, the second, third, and the rest were all driven back, wounded. With a mere thought, Lin Fei suspended the three massive sabers in the void. Merge. The three blades united into one. These were the techniques of a martial saint level, imbued with saber intent. Now, as the three combined, they formed a divine saber stretching several thousand meters. Its mere presence and the aura it radiated were enough to make hearts race. Lin Fei stood calmly atop the platform, his power evident for all to witness. The outcome of the battle was becoming clear, and the atmosphere in the arena was thick with anticipation. "You're too weak." Lin Fei expressed his disappointment with a tinge of sadness. He had initially thought that the five elders would be formidable opponents. However, after their encounter, he realized that these elders were not even a match for Jian Tianyan. They might have possessed high cultivation realms, but in an actual fight, they were sorely lacking. The complexions of the five elders grew ashen. Their gazes were fixed on the massive saber suspended in the air, its intimidating presence undeniable. Deep down, they all knew the truth: they had lost, and it wasn't just a mere loss. It was a crushing defeat. Lin Fei hadn't even displayed his full strength, and they had already been bested. Their internal pride was shattered, making them feel as if they were on the verge of vomiting blood. They had previously thought that even though Lin Fei was powerful, they also had two flowers. Even if there was a disparity in strength, it shouldn't have been that vast. But now, after a fierce battle, the painful realization dawned upon them. The gap between Lin Fei and them was not just a mere difference, it was a chasm, a stark contrast. We admit defeat," one of the elders finally mustered the courage to speak, breaking the tense silence. Had Lin Fei's saber descended, they wouldn't even have had the opportunity to surrender, their fate would have been sealed. With the elders' concession, the spectators surrounding the platform, all disciples of the ancient origin sect, were left in utter shock. 261, finished preparing. The elders of the five of them lost. Elder Lin single-handedly defeated the five prominent elders. Within our ancient origin sect, below the rank of martial sovereign, these were our strongest martial saints. Yet, they were defeated. It wasn't just a loss. It was an utter rout. Elder Lin didn't even employ his full strength to overpower the five elders. The terrifying power of Elder Lin, he must now be the top martial saint of our ancient origin sect. And not just within our sect. Considering the entire ancient continent, at the level of martial saints, Elder Lin might very well be one of the strongest. Nobody among the disciples of the ancient origin sect had ever imagined Lin Fei could defeat the five elders so decisively. Yes, his duel with Ao Yanxiao had created quite a stir, but Ao Yanxiao was not among the top martial saints of the sect. Later, there were rumors that Lin Fei had defeated Illusion Worry City's disciple, Jian Tianyan. But how powerful Jian Tianyan truly was remained speculation. Moreover, the defeat of Jian Tianyan had occurred in Illusion Worry City, and not many from the ancient origin sect had witnessed it. Hearing is not the same as seeing, after all. But now they had seen it with their own eyes, Lin Fei's prowess against the combined force of 5 top-tier martial saint elders. Perhaps, below the martial sovereign, Lin Fei was now unmatched. "Well done, Elder Lin has won this match," the sect leader finally spoke, trying to calm the agitated crowd. "But remember, it was only a spar. Other elders should not take it to heart." Though the sect leader tried to downplay the situation, the 5 defeated elders exchanged meaningful glances. They had made up their minds. After this shameful defeat, they couldn't possibly retain their positions with dignity. It seemed they were now reminded of the original purpose of practicing martial arts. True power in the martial path was of utmost importance. They even considered resigning from their elder positions soon to go into seclusion, striving to comprehend the essence of martial arts better. However, all these matters were now irrelevant to Lin Fei. The sect leader and Wind Sovereign had already sent him a message, asking him to return to the main hall. Soon, Lin Fei arrived at the main hall of the ancient origin sect, where only the Wind Sovereign and the sect leader awaited him. "Elder Lin," the sect leader began, "your request has been accepted. For this journey to the Immortal Mansion, only you, a martial saint from our ancient origin sect, will enter. However, you must ensure that you bring out any treasure you find within. Even if we martial artists have no use for them, as long as they're treasures, we can exchange them with those at the Foundation Establishment or Golden Core stages for precious resources. So, you have but one goal upon entering the Immortal Mansion. That is to plunder. Empty out the entire Immortal Mansion of any treasures you can find. For this purpose, I'll lend you a storage pouch. It's crafted by a Golden Core true person, specially tailored for martial artists like us. You can use your true essence to access it, and it should be spacious enough to store anything you need." The sect leader then handed Lin Fei the storage pouch. Lin Fei, taken aback, channeled his saber essence into the pouch and found a vast space inside. Lin Fei wasn't truly in need of storage space. He possessed the sky-reaching tower, an artifact with ample internal storage to accommodate anything. However, he could only use the spirit of the sky-reaching tower to access that space. This new storage pouch, designed especially for martial artists, could be accessed using saber essence, which was considerably more convenient. "Thank you, sect leader. This pouch is only a loan. Once the journey to the Immortal Mansion concludes, you must return it," the sect leader reminded him with a smile. Lin Fei nodded. He recognized that while martial artists and immortal cultivators might be equally matched in terms of combat strength when it came to crafting magical treasures or auxiliary items, cultivators were far superior. Such a storage pouch, easily crafted by a Golden Core true person, was beyond the reach of martial artists to replicate. Lin Fei wasn't particularly concerned about returning the pouch since he had the sky-reaching tower. But upon reflection, he realized the sect leader's intentions. Anything Lin Fei brought out from the Immortal Mansion would likely be stored in this pouch, making it easier for the sect leader to reclaim the treasures without fearing that Lin Fei might conceal anything. Yet, it was probable the ancient origin sect's leader was unaware of Lin Fei's possession of the sky-reaching tower. Should there be any valuable items, Lin Fei would certainly place them inside the tower. "Sect leader, when will we depart?" Lin Fei inquired. "The exact time is yet to be determined," the sect leader responded. "We still need to negotiate with Profound Light Cave Heaven and Red Hades Mansion. We must ensure that Tai Dao Palace isn't plotting something. However, in about a month or so, we should be able to finalize the date. Wait for further information in your dwelling." Lin Fei nodded and exited the main hall. Watching Lin Fei's departing figure, Wind Sovereign squinted his eyes and calmly asked, "Sect leader, what do you think of Lin Fei?" "Inscrutable. Really? Even you can't see through him?" Wind Sovereign seemed taken aback. The ancient origin sect's leader slightly shook his head. "Lin Fei has been with our ancient origin sect for less than a year. Yet, he evolved from an ordinary martial sate to nearly an invincible one. How can one see through such genius? Moreover, he is a Dao seeker. Every Dao seeker is said to achieve the golden core level, and it seems the rumors are true. He might become a martial sovereign. When sovereign mused, becoming a martial sovereign might be an overstatement. It's more accurate to say there's a high chance. After all, his saber momentum is not yet perfected. Even if he perfects it and forms the spirit flower, achieving the 3 flowers converging atop, it doesn't guarantee to break the life wheel of shackles to reveal it. We both have broken through the life wheel shackles. If given another chance, are you confident in breaking through, sect leader? The sect leader fell silent. Indeed, even with 3 flowers converging atop, not everyone can achieve the title of martial sovereign. The critical step is breaking the life wheel shackles. And this very step holds countless exceptionally talented martial saints. To break the life wheel's shackles is as challenging as a foundation establishment cultivator trying to overcome the heavenly tribulation. It's akin to defying fate and challenging the heavens, an incredibly arduous task. Regardless of how impressive Lin Fei has been, whether he can break the chains of fate remains uncertain. All we can do is to see how Lin Fei's destiny unfolds. The sect leader's words echoed throughout the grand hall. Time flew by day. Lin Fei stayed in his cave, constantly refining 3 saber intents with the saber momentum. With each passing day, the cultivation progress of his saber intent increased by approximately 1%. Several days later, the saber intent of one of the 3 martial saint level techniques, the flame-burning heaven saber, reached 100% cultivation progress. The saber intent successfully achieved transcendence. However, once the saber intent reached transcendence, no matter how much he honed it further, the results seemed insignificant. Soon after, the saber intent of the rainbow transformation saber technique also achieved transcendence. Roughly 2 months later, the Holy Spirit saber technique's saber intent reached transcendence as well. After 2 long months, Lin Fei finally received a message from the sect leader. He immediately proceeded to the main hall of the sect, where the sect leader and Wind Sovereign awaited him. Lin Fei, it's settled, the sect leader announced. In 3 days, the Tai Dao Palace, Red Hades Mansion, Profound Light Cave Heaven, and our Ancient Origin sect will jointly open the Immortal Mansion. By then, you will enter the mansion alongside the Foundation establishment true persons from the other factions. Having waited for 2 months, Lin Fei finally received specific information. Sect leader, I have a question, Lin Fei said. Once inside the Immortal Mansion, are we allowed to kill? The sect leader and Wind Sovereign exchanged glances. The sect leader then spoke in a deep voice. The 4 major factions have reached an agreement. Once inside the Immortal Mansion, anything goes. You can kill not only the members from Tai Dao Palace but also those from Red Hades Mansion and Profound Light Cave Heaven. Anyone who contests treasures with you can be killed. The sect leader's words were resolute and unequivocal. 262, Immortal Mansion. In the vast and boundless expanse of the ocean, Lin Fei and the Wind Sovereign gracefully tread the air, arriving over these immense waters. Not far from here lay the Isle of Fairy Mist Island, yet the two did not pause there. The exact location of the Immortal Mansion was well known to the Ancient Origin sect. The Wind Sovereign took the lead. After all, the combined might of the 4 Golden Core True Person and the Martial Sovereign was essential. Together, they needed to suppress the formation of the Immortal Mansion, forging a passage through. Over there, those of the representatives of the Profound Light Cave Heaven and the Red Hades Mansion, remarked the Wind Sovereign softly. Following the gaze of the Wind Sovereign, Lin Fei's eyes discerned them as well. Suspended above the sea, the silhouettes of 2 groups could vaguely be seen, seemingly waiting for something. The ones dressed in ashen robes belonged to the Profound Light Cave Heaven. In contrast, those of the Red Hades Mansion adorned themselves in vibrant, multicolored attire, a medley of styles without any uniformity. Yet, both the profound light cave heaven and the red Hades mansion had many foundation establishment true persons among them, all presumably intending to enter the immortal mansion. When sovereign, does the ancient origin sect only send a single martial sate into the immortal mansion? Queried the golden light true person from the profound light cave heaven. He was leading the group from the profound light cave heaven this time and was no stranger to the Wind Sovereign. One is sufficient, Wind Sovereign replied calmly. Entering the immortal mansion, it's the quality that counts, not the quantity. Is that so? Every single one from my profound light cave heaven is a top-notch foundation establishment true person. It appears the ancient origin sect-like successors, not many formidable martial saints left, the golden light true person remarked with the same tranquility. Really? Let us see once we enter the immortal mansion, retorted Wind Sovereign, the tension palpable between them. The three great factions, only when faced with external pressures, like the presence of the Tai Dao Palace, would they unite. Beneath the surface, deep-seated conflicts and covert struggles were ever present. Take, for instance, the animosity between Wind Sovereign and the Golden Light True Person. Even before they had ascended to their current statuses, disagreements had marred their history. Their meetings were anything but amicable. Constant conflicts have persisted between the ancient origin sect and the profound light cave heaven. Wind Sovereign, Golden Light True Person, let's table this for now, an urgent voice interrupted. The envoys from the Tai Dao Palace have arrived. The one speaking was the Red Crane True Person of Red Hades Mansion, a female Golden Core True Person. Both the Wind Sovereign and Golden Light True Person raised their heads, casting their gaze toward the distant horizon. Indeed, on the far-off skyline, there loomed a grand ship. Evidently, this vessel was a magical treasure, capable of flight. Its magnificent presence stirred the winds and cloaked the skies with mist, making its way toward them with grandeur. HMPH, the Tai Dao Palace always sees themselves as superior, making such a grand entrance, sneered a voice. Hasn't the Tai Dao Palace always been like this? Both the Wind Sovereign and Golden Light True Person, for once, agreed. It seemed only in the face of the Tai Dao Palace would the two find common ground. In a flash, the ship from the Tai Dao Palace arrived. A Golden Core True Person, accompanied by more than 20 Foundation Establishment True Persons, appeared over the sea and with a gesture recalled the magical treasure. The sheer number of top-tier Foundation Establishment True Persons surpassed the combined forces of the ancient origin sect, Red Hades Mansion, and Golden Light Cave Heaven. In a certain sense, the Tai Dao Palace indeed boasted formidable power. Their deep-rooted strength was astonishing. No wonder they had always overshadowed the three great factions. My fellow Taoists, I apologize for the wait, the Golden Core True Person from the Tai Dao Palace said, sweeping his gaze over them. So, it's True Person Lo Fen. Now that you've arrived, let us begin, Golden Light True Person remarked coldly. The three major factions and True Person Lu Feng had no pleasantries to exchange. The mere fact they didn't immediately clash was already a testament to their restraint. However, Lu Feng's gaze eventually settled on Lin Fei, a hint of surprise flickering within. Is this the martial saint of the ancient origin sect? Lu Feng recognized Lin Fei. An image of him was captured within the Great Mountain Seal. It was Lin Fei who had slain his disciples, the Five Light True Person and the Clear Light True Person. Yes, this is the first elder of the law enforcement hall from the ancient origin sect, Elder Lin Fei, the Wind Sovereign replied calmly. Only Elder Lin is representing the ancient origin sect in the immortal mansion. It seems the ancient origin sect has great confidence in Elder Lin. Elder Lin's prowess must be truly formidable. Throughout, Elder Lu Feng's tone remained tranquil. Lin Fei's brows slightly furrowed. Even though True Person Lu Feng spoke with calmness, Lin Fei sensed a subtle coldness in his eyes. Lin Fei was certain he had never met Lu Feng in his memories. In fact, he could count on one hand the number of people from the Tai Dao Palace he had met, just a very few. Suddenly, a thought crossed his mind. The two top-tier Foundation establishment true persons he had slain among the pirates on Fairy Mist Island were from the Tai Dao Palace, weren't they? Perhaps those two had some connection with the Lu Fen beforehand. The more he pondered, the more convinced Lin Fei became that there was a connection between Lu Feng and those two. Nevertheless, Lin Fei wasn't afraid. With Wind Sovereign by his side and the three major powers on high alert against the Tai Dao Palace, there was little to fear from them. As for potential ambushes from the Tai Dao Palace's Foundation establishment true persons, once they entered the Immortal Mansion, Lin Fei couldn't care less. Once inside the mansion, it was uncertain who would be hunting whom. At this moment, Lu Feng sent a telepathic message to the Foundation establishment true persons of the Tai Dao Palace. Remember Lin Fei of the ancient origin sect. Keep a close eye on him. Lin Fei's strength is remarkable. Even when Five Light and Clear Light had the Great Mountain Seal, they were slain by him. Do not act rashly against Lin Fei once inside the Immortal Mansion. Our priority is to find the treasures. If you must confront him, make sure it's a lethal strike. Use all your power and work together to besiege him. The hearts of the many Foundation establishment true persons tightened. The mention of Lin Fei, who had slain Five Light in Clear Light even when they deployed the power of the Great Mountain Seal, emphasized his extraordinary abilities. However, they were not afraid. For this trip to the Immortal Mansion, the Tai Dao Palace had prepared thoroughly. They believed that unless confronted by a Golden Core true person, they would surely prevail. All right, let's dive in. And so, the factions from all sides plunged straight into the waters. Deep beneath the sea, a sense of unease mingled with awe. Lin Fei, known as Martial Sate, possessed a body that was impervious to the elements, allowing him to dive deep into the ocean without trouble. It wasn't long before the combined forces of the four powers reached the seabed and gazed upon a magnificent immortal mansion. The mansion was inscribed with intricate runes and array patterns, making it clear that it wasn't meant to be accessed by just anyone. True Person Lu Fen, Red Crane True Person, Golden Light True Person, and Wind Sovereign, the three Golden Core True Persons and one Martial Sovereign, joined forces, encircling the mansion. With a thunderous rumble, the mansion vibrated intensely. Though the great formation of the mansion started its operation, the combined strength of the four powerhouses suppressed it, creating an opening for entry. Enter the mansion quickly, one of the leaders directed. Remember, you have only 1 month. After that period, you must return. If the mansion seals while you're inside, escape will become almost impossible. Every Foundation establishment true person and Martial Sate felt their hearts tighten. They understood the stakes. Only a formidable nascent soul great being could breach this mansion. Even for a Golden Core true person, the best they could hope for was temporarily suppressing the mansion's defensive arrays. Over time, the defenses would reactivate, and if they went out by then, they could be trapped forever, with the mansion possibly vanishing entirely. The opportunity was a singular one, fraught with peril. Being trapped would mean an eternity of confinement. Lin Fei, if you can, come out earlier. Wind Sovereign telepathically communicated to Lin Fei. His caution was based on prudence and an element of distrust. Who could know what true person Lu Feng of the Tai Dao Palace might do? Leaving early would minimize the risks. Lin Fei nodded in acknowledgement. Without further delay, he and the other Foundation establishment true persons flew into the Immortal Mansion, ready to confront whatever lay inside. 263. Human-faced fruit. Within the Immortal Mansion, Lin Fei was greeted by an astonishing sight. The water that surrounded the mansion outside was nowhere to be found. Instead, it resembled a typical, grandiose mansion one would expect on land. The air was fresh, and it felt as though he was standing above ground. The Immortal Mansion's interior truly showcased its miraculous nature. Lin Fei deduced that the entire mansion was, in essence, a treasure unto itself. If it could be claimed entirely, it would be the most valuable acquisition. Yet, even the Tai Dao Palace, with its profound heritage, could not currently harness the entire mansion's essence. Within the vast hall of the mansion, members from the various factions exchanged glances, sizing up potential rivals. The eyes of those from the Tai Dao Palace especially rested upon Lin Fei. However, none took immediate action. They were all aware that their primary objective was the treasures within, and initiating conflict without even locating the treasures would be premature. Leading the way, the 20th Foundation establishment true persons from the Tai Dao Palace advanced in one direction. Their figures soon vanished, seemingly melding with the mansion's intricate architecture. Their choice not to split up was a strategic one. Alone, they might be vulnerable to members from the ancient origin sect, Red Hades Mansion, or Profound Light Cave Heaven. There was strength in numbers, and staying together was the safest option. Profound Light Cave Heaven and Red Hades Mansion, however, looked at each other, sensing a palpable mutual distrust. They silently decided on diverging paths, ensuring they would not inadvertently clash. Soon, the expansive hall was devoid of anyone but Lin Fei. Taking his time, Lin Fei meticulously surveyed his surroundings. While the mansion was adorned with intricate carvings and various curious artifacts, none of these items appeared to be the treasures everyone sought. Had there been any, the members of the other factions wouldn't have left in such haste. Making his decision, Lin Fei picked a pathway that seemed promising and ventured deeper into the Immortal Mansion, ready to uncover its hidden secrets. The parts within the Immortal Mansion branched in all directions, resembling a labyrinth at first glance. Inside the Immortal Mansion lay treasures, the most coveted of which were undoubtedly the magic treasures. Yet, Lin Fei held little regard for such magic treasures. Even though the ancient origin sect wished for him to amass a vast collection of these treasures, Lin Fei had his plans upon entering the Immortal Mansion. His primary concern was enhancing his saber intent. Lin Fei's saber intent had already reached the level of transcendence. Only by advancing it to perfection could he potentially evolve his saber momentum. However, what within the Immortal Mansion could possibly elevate Lin Fei's saber intent? Lin Fei was as much in the dark about that as anyone. He could only press on. After what felt like an eternity of wandering without encountering any perils, Lin Fei began to suspect that the nascent soul great being truly hadn't set any treacherous traps within the mansion. It made sense, after all. This wasn't some test, it was the Immortal Mansion left behind after the fall of a nascent soul great being, the very abode where they had resided. Who would lace their dwelling with snares? Moreover, with a being as formidable as a nascent soul great being, even without defenses, who would dare trespass into their Immortal Mansion as long as they lived? Is this Van Herb Garden? Lin Fei's wandering suddenly brought him out into the open. Before him stretched an expanse of lush verdancy and extensive herb garden. Qi cultivators, whether qi condensation, foundation establishment, or even golden core, all seemed to have an inherent affinity for alchemy. To craft various elixirs, an abundance of rare medicinal herbs was essential. Given that this nascent soul great being had an immortal mansion, it seemed only natural for there to be an herb garden. Though Lin Fei couldn't recognize many of the precious herbs in the garden, a mere whiff of many of them invigorated him, clearing his mind and refreshing his spirit. Without hesitation, he moved closer to explore. With a swift whoosh, a strand of saber essence shot out, slashing a vast stretch of plants before him, which Lin Fei promptly stashed in his storage bag. Though he hadn't found any magic treasures, these rare herbs were a good find. After all, such treasures that even a nascent soul great being valued couldn't be ordinary. Lin Fei harvested the herbs vigorously. Had a golden core true person been present, they would have surely accused him of being wastefully extravagant. Many of these divine and earthly treasures required special harvesting methods. Lin Fei's direct approach, slashing them with his saber, undoubtedly damaged many. It was truly heart-wrenching for any cultivator to see. However, Lin Fei was indifferent to whether he diminished their efficacy, he just wanted them all. Suddenly, a refreshing aroma caught Lin Fei's attention. Looking up, he spotted a tree situated at the garden's prime spot. Strangely, this tree bore only a single fruit. And even more oddly, this fruit bore the resemblance of a human face, vivid and lifelike. Just as Lin Fei reached out to pluck it, the fruit unexpectedly opened its eyes. Yes, just like a human. Lin Fei's eyes tightened and his saber essence was on the brink of launching. But then, the fruit spoke, "Don't be alarmed. I am but a human-faced fruit. What harm can it possibly cause you? You're a martial artist, aren't you? Good martial artists won't eat me, nor use me for pill concoction." This fruit, referring to itself as the human-faced fruit, surprisingly had a voice which was youthful, much like a little girl's. A human-faced fruit. "Why can you talk?" Lin Fei inquired. "I am the human-faced fruit. Planted here by the 7 sacred Taoists in the Immortal Mansion, I don't know how many years ago. Over time, I gradually gained consciousness. In essence, I'm a spirit object. If you promise not to eat me or refine me into a pill, I can guide you to any place within the Immortal Mansion. Having been a spirit for so long, I understand the mansion much better than newcomers like you, especially a warrior like yourself. To be honest, there's hardly anything in this entire Immortal Mansion that would be of use to you. The only thing that might be of use to you in the Immortal Mansion is the prison," the human-faced fruit continued. "Many fearsome individuals were once held there, all captured by the 7 sacred Taoists. Among them are powerful martial artists, many times stronger than you, even 100 times more potent." Lin Fei's eyes lit up at this revelation. Anyone that much stronger than him was undeniably a martial sovereign. So the 7 sacred Taoist is the master of the Immortal Mansion. That nascent soul great being? Lin Fei inquired. "Yes, the 7 sacred Taoist is the lord of the Immortal Mansion," the fruit affirmed. Lin Fei, with a glint in his eyes, pressed on. "Such a prominent nascent soul figure planted you in this medicinal garden, in its prime spot no less. That means you are held in high regard. You must not be just an ordinary spirit." The human-faced fruit appeared visibly flustered at Lin Fei's deduction and hastily replied, "Indeed, I'm not ordinary. I have a specific use for nascent soul cultivators, particularly for those in the Tao of Immortality. As a martial artist, even if you consumed me, it wouldn't benefit you. As long as you spare me, we can negotiate. I can guide you to the prison in the Immortal Mansion, where you might find what you're seeking." This fruit did not dare to conceal anything. As merely a spirit object, anyone could consume it. All it wished for was survival. "So I should just pluck you?" Lin Fei asked. "Yes, I'm mature and have become a spirit. Just pluck me and store me in a box. As long as I can absorb spiritual energy later on, I'll remain in this state," the fruit answered. Lin Fei nodded and, with a flick of his finger, used his saber essence to cut the human-faced fruit from its branch. Oops! The fruit let out a yelp as it tumbled to the ground. Lin Fei ensured that it was unharmed before picking it up again. "Lead the way to the prison and the Immortal Mansion," Lin Fei ordered with a calm demeanor. Despite the rough handling, the human-faced fruit didn't dare complain. Complying with Lin Fei's directive, it began guiding him deeper into the Immortal Mansion, towards the prison.